The following video is sponsored by Seymour Duncan. This week on the channel, we're talking about the Seymour Duncan PowerStage 170, a pedalboard-sized power amp that's small enough to fit in your gig bag, but loud enough to cover any gig and maybe shut up the amp snobs in your life. Let's go! What's up everybody, my name is Adam, welcome to the channel. My goal is to help you make good money playing music. If that sounds like something you'd be into, please subscribe to the channel and help spread the word. Look, as a working guitar player for the past 20 some odd years, I've used just about every live guitar rig option out there. For a magical era around the mid-2000s, I was an endorsed artist with a fruit-based amp builder. It was rad, but my back has never recovered. So when I got off the road, I opted for smaller amps, but at some point, playing at private parties and corporate events just put me in rooms that straight up weren't conducive to pushing air. So much so that after being presented with a literally impossible band setup at a private party, I jumped into the Helix ecosystem. After trying a few of their offerings, I landed on the HX Stomp about 5 years ago. And for the most part, I've loved it. It has everything I need and is small enough to fit in my car along with my band's entire PA system. But every now and then, I'll get a gig offer from a group that wants live amps on stage. This usually involves building a custom preset or two on my modeler and then trying to dial in the tone of the amp to complement the effects I put in the signal chain. It usually did the job, but it required a bunch of fiddling and never quite lived up to the sound in my head. Never mind, it required me to carry 2 additional pieces of gear to the gig. One of those may or may not be that 60-pound tube head behind me. At this point, I've got my HX Stomp presets dialed the in, and I just want a dead simple way to take those sounds and put them through a guitar cabinet. Well, at NAMM, I got to have an epic hang sesh with the team at Seymour Duncan, and through those talks, they offered to send me a PowerStage 170 to see if it is, in fact, the grail piece of gear that I've been missing. So let's check it out. The PowerStage is a 170-watt solid-state power amp designed to fit on your pedal board. Unless you're using a comically tiny board like mine, then it's designed to fit next to it. It's basically an amp head that fits between your pedals and your passive speaker cabinet. And despite its small size, it can easily push a full-size cabinet without much trouble. The PowerStage cranks out 170 watts of Class D power at 4 ohms, which should be more than enough for gigging, even in a full band situation. Before we go any further, let's talk a minute about power ratings and resistance because it can get a bit confusing. Guitar cabinets usually have some kind of resistance rating on the back of them, and that resistance is measured in ohms. As such, the resistance of the cabinet you have may reduce the available wattage the amp, or in this case, the PowerStage produces. As the resistance goes up, the available wattage is basically cut in half. The PowerStage 170 does have internal impedance matching, which allows it to work with any standard guitar cabinet within the 4 to 16 ohm range. For this particular video, I'm going to be using a 16 ohm 1x12 cabinet, which means that I'll have roughly 42 watts of output power available. Just something to keep in mind, as you may need to find a lower impedance cab to get the most out of this setup. 42 watts will push plenty of air and should work for most use cases, but if you need more power or different routing options, Seymour Duncan has other models, including a stereo version and an eye-watering 700-watt version. Okay, science lesson over. Let's get shallow and judge this thing based on its looks. I would consider this caveman simple. It's got a line input, a speaker output, and a level out knob. And it's powered by a standard IEC cable, which means no wall wart or taking up a spot on your pedal power supply, which is a big win. It also has a 3-band EQ with 13 dB of boost or cut for bass, mids, and treble. That means you can fine-tune your sound depending on the cab you're using or the room you're in. To me, this is the clincher in choosing the PowerStage over similar products. An onboard EQ gives you an easy tactile method of adjusting what you hear out of the cab, which is way faster than having to dig into the menus of your modeler. Also, this thing is built like a brick. It's got a metal chassis, nice solid knobs, nothing feels flimsy, and it only weighs about 2 pounds, so you can toss it in your backpack, your gig bag, or strap it to your pedal board. Another big plus. Okay, the big question. How does this thing sound? Well, it sounds clean. Very clean. Super clean. Radio Disney version clean. And that's the whole point. It's designed to not color your tone. This means the presets you've been painstakingly tweaking gig after gig get the fairest shake. Whether you're using a modeler, a preamp pedal, or you just want your drives to shine, the PowerStage 170 is there to amplify without interfering. Okay, let's transition to the demo portion. Okay, so I've got my HX Stomp connected to the PowerStage 170, and it's going into this orange 112 cab. That's being captured by my Sennheiser 906, which doesn't have either the high pass or the low pass enabled. That is then going into my Apogee Element and then captured in Logic Pro. So my objective here is to do two things. I want to try this out with my existing presets to get a comparable in-the-room tone from the speaker cab. Second objective is to build a preset from scratch that puts the PowerStage 170 at the center of the equation. If you like how that turns out, leave a comment and maybe I'll put it up on custom tone. And as far as guitars go, the first one's going to be my Nick Johnston Schecter with 3 single coils, and then maybe we'll do a higher gain one with some humbuckers later on. All right, let's get into it. First preset we're working with is my Roland JC preset. It's very clean. Nothing's been tweaked. I haven't done anything to the presets themselves. We're just going to give this a shot. Here we go. Interesting. I thought there would be more tweaking involved here. Let's see. So this one has a Zilla cab impulse response on it. Let's go ahead and turn that off. Okay, doesn't sound as good. I guess I'll put it back on. I mean, right out of the box, that's pretty amazing. Let's try a different preset. All right, let's try this mid-gain matchless tone. I was expecting this to be a lot more work. I mean, there's not anything to do. It just sounds awesome just as is. I thought I was going to have to like disable the impulse responses or move a bunch of stuff around. I'm super pleased with the way it sounds as is. All right, let's move up the gain a little bit. So here's my main crunch tone. It's based around a Mesa Boogie Lone Star. Okay, so I guess we established that it sounds pretty good with a Strat. Let's try something a bit heavier. Okay, guitar number 2 is my Lee Malia Signature Explorer. It's got some pretty beefy humbuckers in it. Let's see what the Lone Star sounds like through it. Nice. Okay, you know where we need to go next then. Here's my Rev Gen Purple. This is my high gain, like balls to the wall tone. Let's hear it. Yeah, no, that's rad. All right, that settles it. I really thought this was going to be harder. I could go play this thing tonight. Maybe I will. Okay, so now it's time to start one from scratch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this preset in the Stomp itself, and I'm just going to set it up the way that I normally set up one of my presets. So let's do a couple of things. First thing, let's put a compressor. So we'll just do the deluxe. We won't mess with any of the presets. Next thing, of course, we got to do some kind of dirt box. Let's go with the Hedgehog D9. Not really worried about any of the settings just yet. And this is going to go into the 2203. And since we're putting a bunch of noise through the thing, let's turn the gate on. Let's start tweaking these settings here. I could probably pull the drive down a little bit, turn the bass up, turn the mids down, turn the treble up, presence a little bit, turn the channel volume up, master up. Maybe not that far. It's a little fizzy on the top. Let's dial that back just a little. Sounds pretty good to me. Okay, well, I have had my fun, so it's time to get out of this basement and see how this puppy fares in the real world. So at this point, I've used the PowerStage in a few capacities. I've used it in rehearsals and gigs, and I've used it in conjunction with my direct input and just straight mics through the cab. I was blown away at how easily it fit into my band's existing setup. You literally just turn it on, set your levels, and go. It ended up being a perfect fit for this live band karaoke gig we just did because it gave folks on stage more ambient sound instead of just having to hear the direct signal through a center fill monitor. For future gigs, I can definitely see packing this on fly dates so I can use whatever backline gear they have and not miss a beat with the sounds I've built. For other hired guns, this may be what you've been looking for as well. Okay, to wrap this up, I am not a tone chaser. I am a guitar player that finds something that works and sticks with it. When I look at a piece of gear, I want something that's easy to use, well built, and above all else, sounds good. If you're like me and you want a lightweight, reliable solution for amplifying your pedal board or modeler, the PowerStage 170 is a no-brainer. Compact, loud, clean, and road ready. It doesn't get in your way, and that might be the best compliment you can give it. If you have any other questions about the PowerStage 170, leave those in the comments. Once again, big thanks to Seymour Duncan for sponsoring this video and providing the PowerStage to try out. That's gonna do it for this week. Thanks again for tuning in. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We post multiple videos every single week. And if you didn't know, we are also a podcast. We are on our way to hitting 400 episodes covering all the ways that you can make great money playing music. Have an awesome week, and I'll see you next time.